I'm here with Phoenix Master 1, and we're going to score every duo and harmonic hero from the last 2 years to see what the power creep from this generation looks like. PM1, are you ready?
Yes, absolutely. What's up, guys? I'm Phoenix Master 1, and today we're going to be taking a look at a lot of duo and harmonic units. So we're going to be comparing the Gen 5 duo and harmonics compared to Gen 6. So let us know in the comments, what do you think about the duos and harmonics compared to the last year. And yeah, Joel, let's begin.
I've got a nice timeline that I've put together of this year in Feh, and I wanted to know from your standpoint, what was the biggest event from this past year?
I think the biggest event from this past year definitely has been Summoner Duels, because it has basically given a new direction to how they can design units and where we can use our mythic units and legendary units. And also we have skills like Canto Control now, which are really meta defining there, and also Hardy Fighter. So I think, in my opinion, Summoner Duels is pretty much the biggest turning point in Feh in this past year. What do you think?
I'm going a different direction there, and the Universal Spark.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
But man, that changed legendary banners for me so much.
Yeah, that's definitely a big turning point. If you just want to, pull, even if you just play casually, that's also a huge, turning point. Finally being able to get, these seasonal units and legendary units at the guaranteed spark. But yeah, it's also really painful if you have a free-to-play account, because you gotta just go through it and the horrible luck.
It is true. I am sending comments to IS every day that they should give everyone the spark. Let us move on to the meat of this thing and talk about power creep. First up, we have the absolute world beaters, the Summer Edelgards. I think we don't have to explain those much. From there, we have the meta-influential units like Fallen Edelgard, who, despite what everyone says, is still a powerhouse. We have Brave Edelgard and the solid role players. We have Legendary Edelgard, who is very unique and can contribute, but can be kind of tough. And then we have OG Edelgard, who is, hey, she'll get a refine. Maybe she'll be the one on the top of this list. But now that we've gone all over that, PM1, is there anything you want to add to the power creep scale?
As someone who likes Edelgard a lot, I think this is definitely quite perfect. I really wish, Claude could also be on this kind of scale, but sadly, he's missing a few alts here.
Let's get to rating these units. And this is the first month, this is September, so first month of the generation. We have Duo Sigurd, who was just game-changing. This unit had damage reduction, a decent attack stat, reposition as a duo skill. He locked an entire defense archetype behind him with the T, if you remember, had to have him to run it. So, the rating here is obviously a 5-star.
Yeah, I use Duo Sigurd so much, and Duo Sigurd has definitely contributed to a lot of perfect defenses for me in Ether raids on my free-to-play account. But I would say that, when they got out, it was not so much of, meta game changing. It was more so around February, where we got, Saros and the 7-slot unit. And then we saw the Pandora's box get opened with the Dancer Trap teams.
Let's talk about this poor boy here. And this was one of the least popular banners of the year. This unit had a lot of things. They've got Slaying, they've got Canto, they've got built-in Miracle, ranged Gale Force, Duo Desperation. The rating hits, and we're at 1 star. How could you do this to your boy Seliph?
Yeah, it's been tough, but we're gonna get our payback with Brave Seliph, I hope. But yeah, this unit definitely, has been hit or miss for a lot of people. The survivability is the main standing out factor for this unit. And I mean, that could definitely work, but unfortunately we just have so many auto follow-up units, and when you're not able to stop that, you can still die despite having this kind of, miracle if you just get dropped to your 1 HP.
In regular Aether raids, he is so outclassed. So, definitely a fun unit, but the start of the year, looking at the power levels of Gen 5 versus Gen 6, clearly has Gen 5 in the lead. All right, let's move on to our Halloween units, which are also less than stellar. But let's start off with Harmonic Tiki. So we have got Dragon Breath, Half Blade, Defense Res Wave, and a game sharing dance. Significantly, this would be with Linja. So, rating. This is one of the most underwhelming units that I have ever seen as far as duos go. Sorry, Harmonic. So, I've got to ask though, if this unit were able to use Gale Force, would it be better?
As someone who uses a lot, and I mean a lot of Gale Force, pretty much 90% of my matches in Ether Raids are Gale Force, I would say the magical damage is definitely pretty helpful, and once you take out the hindrance or the duo units and harmonic units, the dance is going to be really helpful. Dragons being locked out of Gale Force is definitely a bit sad when a lot of the times these dragons are made with high speed and for player phase, so they kind of get pigeonholed into being defensive and then being run with Dragon Wall and trying to be tanky and all.
So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this unit. We're going to get to good old Duo Sothis. This unit has gotten me so many nasty comments. I know you guys love this unit. This unit has null dragon effectiveness, DC, noontime with damage in the form of Sirius, and a duo null follow-up, plus a little bit of a quicken pulse in there. I'm looking at this rating. The first question I have to ask is, do you not like dragons?
I like dragons. I think they're extremely cool, but I like them a lot more in the mainline games than I do in FE, if it makes sense, because dragons unfortunately have seen quite up and down in FE. This is definitely up for them nowadays, but still.
This month of October, less than stellar. So we have Gen 5 is still in the lead. I'm a little bit worried about my thesis here that Gen 6 duo harmonic units are definitely better than Gen 5. So far, it is falling flat, but I have hope. Here's where stuff really gets fun. We're into November and the Ninja banner. This always has great stuff. And first up, we have Duo Lyn. This unit is slaying brave, and that combination is always so potent. But on top of that, she self-dances. That's just, yes, this was clearly going to be a 5-star. Now, was there a non-duo unit from Gen 5 that had a bigger impact on the meta than this one here?
It's pretty hard to find one, because Ninja Lyn was basically the unit that told everyone, hey, run duo's hindrance or I'm gonna run your team over in Ether Raids. So yeah, definitely quite hard to find a unit in Gen 5, like Ninja Lyn, who was so meta relevant. And then she, proceeded to win a Hero Rises event as well, so.
Moving on to the next unit that comes up, which is Duo Corrin. Now, we've got the same Brave unit here, but instead of the slaying, we get speed-based true damage, and of course the self-dancing.
I mean, nowadays we just don't really see Ninja Lyn that much, except for Ether Raid's offense, which is like crazy, because she was so strong. But now we have Ninja Corrin, who can bust through save armors, has pretty much, made having Deflect Magic a thing on a lot of far save armors, and, is so solid in for like competitive game modes and also for in-game content.
So in your mind, what is the thing that keeps this unit from being that 5, that Summer Edelgard scale there?
I think pretty much the fact that if you survive her, then she's just dying. And for a lot of, higher echelons of gameplay, people are going to be having the Hardy Fighter Deflect Magic tanks, so they can survive Ninja Corrin. But with the captain skills and such, you can definitely try and spice up the gameplay of Ninja Corrin a bit more. But still, I think she's at a point where she's definitely really strong. And also, a lot of people have Plus and Merger thanks to Hero Rises. So that's a unit you're going to be seeing a lot in Arena. And she just killed Yenfei like it's nothing. So yeah, she's really strong. And I'm glad she's not stronger. Otherwise, the Arena gameplay would be even more suffering than it is right now.
Gen 6 is still just solidly in the lead, or Gen 5 rather. My theory so far, it's not looking good. All right, it's okay though. It's okay. The December banner is here, and Harmonic Altina is one of my all-time favorites. This is a dual-phase Brave weapon before dual-phase Brave weapons were cool. We've got damage reduction canceling in the special. We've got Harmonic Vantage. I mean, this is crazy. I will say, now we both did ratings for these just to compare, and Summoners, I was worried that I was going to be biased on this, and I only gave her a 2, and I am so happy that PM1, you brought her up to this magnificent 4 that we're talking about here. So, the first question. Why is Vantage superior to Gale Force?
Oh, it's not. No, you cannot get that out of me. No, we're not in 2019 anymore. But yeah, she was definitely the unit to bring that back. And basically December and November were the months where that gave you the reality check that, hey, you better have some kind of duo and harmonic unit on your Ether Raid's defense. And you might have duo hindrance so that you don't get swept, because she just needs to pop a Vantage and she can sweep your team if you don't really have any kind of bulky blues that can survive her. And, having Twin Blades is really, really good, and it really ages better as we move on with the game with the damage reduction that we see. And the fact that she was sparkable unit definitely meant that a lot of people got her, and she was pretty much the unit that first bumped the, scoring and how many people were going to the higher tiers in resonant battles because she was sparkable.
Oh man, that was definitely the case. The other thing that mysteriously helped this unit out that I didn't realize at the time was adding that 7th unit. And what it meant was that whenever you set this unit out there and hit the Vantage button, you would not sweep the team, so you could still get pots.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely an advantage in this kind of Vantage playstyle, because usually it's a bit annoying to get to the pots if you just sweep the entire team.
I see what you did there. Advantage, Vantage. All right, moving on to Lysithea. This is another one of my favorites. I really enjoyed December, apparently. Let's see here. Now, this is Slaying and a conditional Brave, which that alone is such a good combo. And I'm looking at these Brave units, I'm realizing, especially with the ones that are coming out now, how valuable it actually is. On top of that, we have Harmonized Bonus Doubler, which isn't amazing, but is a very nice skill. We rated this unit, this is a 3, which is not bad. This is a solid role player. Like I said, I very much enjoy using this unit. The thing that really surprised me, I never fully comprehended how much the Phantom Seals were going to take over the meta. And this is when I finally accepted they were just going to be a thing, because Phantom Speed is just a regular skill you put on this unit. How big of a surprise was that to you?
Yeah, definitely a bit surprising, but I actually don't mind facing Phantom Speed units because they're gonna be having a lot less attack if they were running Blade Session, which also pretty much gives you +9 attack and speed now. So yeah, I actually like facing Phantom Speed units a lot, honestly, because it's a lot easier to tank her then.
I'm curious if we get other Phantom skills, because Phantom Res has been so good on like Tamari Air, and we have Elamine as well. I'm curious if they continue that line.
Phantom defense would definitely be pretty nice with Dancer Eldigan, and as a huge Eldigan fan, I cannot wait any longer for it.
I want it on Brave Dimitri so that he just has a little more damage reduction.
He's still gonna be dying though.
Oh, poor Brave Dimitri. Why you gotta talk Dimitri slander here? Hasn't the boy suffered enough? Looking at the tally, Gen 5 is still 5 points over Gen 6, which is pretty incredible. At this point in Gen 6, the dual harmonic units had just not been really that great. Of course, the thing that happened in this month is Summoner Duels, and that changed everything. But let's talk about the unit that just ruined Arena for me. This is Duo Peony. And this is a fairly simple kit. I mean, as far as special things, she has the Omega Drive Attack, the +6. And in cardinal directions, we have Dance Orders, which is just fantastic. And then we have the big thing here. Since this isn't harmonic locked, this is Duo Dance for everyone. There was no debate here. This was 5 stars. So, was this the worst unit in Arena to face in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, but like, I think much worse was ahead of us, clearly, with some of, I mean, at least if you, knew how to predict the AI, this would still be, a fine thing for you, a dancer. But yeah, oh boy, Duo Chrom, Duo Dagr, yeah. But yeah, this is a fantastic unit. Like, she's so good. Even if you play casually, you have seen the Rooker Siege clears with multiple dancer peonies in a single turn. And she also, has her value increased now with the Chaos Season that we have, because you can only run a single dancer on your offense. So someone like Peony, who doesn't have the Harmonic restriction, is amazing for any kind of Gale Force team, really.
Next, there's Duo Dagr. We have Slaying. I'm gonna call this bonus debuffer. I don't know if you have a better term for that, but that's the one I'm going with right now. We've got Pathfinder, Null Follow-Up, and then the big thing, Duo Pathfinder for all. This was clearly a 5-star unit. But we start to get into the Summoner Duels and the effect on the meta here, and I've got to ask, if Summoner Duels didn't exist, would you still put this unit at 5-star?
Probably not, because Summoner Duels is what enables the easy usage of dual skills and harmonic skills, and it also burns an action, so it's really good for stalling and for putting more pressure on the opponent. So I probably wouldn't rate her 5-star if Summoner Duels wasn't a thing, because then she'll be relegated to Ether Raid's defense mainly, where, I mean, you're not going to be... The AI is not smart enough to use the dual skill, thankfully, so... so probably not, but yeah, this unit is definitely pretty terrifying. The Pathfinder is just really insane, being able to give that to your entire team, not to mention buffing up all of your units and yourself with +6 buffs to all stats, and that is one of the things why Distant Defense 4 really picked up the popularity for a lot of far-safe tanks, because if you want to survive, Duo Dagr, who has this null follow-up in her slot B, ignoring her visible buffs is really important. So I feel like Duo Dagr is a big reason for Distant Defense 4, and I wish it was a skill that was available on more units, so I could put that on my far-safe tanks. But yeah, incredible unit, but as incredible as she is, we're kind of seeing counterplay to her in Summoner Duels now with Summer Thorr being able to erase any kind of positive effect. So if you don't really know what Summer Thorr does, and if you use Pathfinder before her dual skill is used, then you're just going to be losing any kind of mileage out of Duo Dagr's dual skill, unfortunately.
I've seen it so much that you end up in a game of Duo Chicken.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of like it because it just adds another layer of complexity, even though it's through these kinds of power-crept skills, but still.
From here, Gen 6 looks like it's at least starting to keep pace, but 5 points behind is like an entire meta-defining unit behind. Let's look at one of your personal favorites here, Harmonic Dorothea. Now, this is Omni-Chill and a game-sharing dance. So it's the harmonic dance that we've talked about. So there's not a whole lot to this unit. We've got 2 stars down here. I want to know, did this rating hurt you because I know how much you enjoy playing with this unit?
I mean, not so much, because I know even if I'm a fan of a unit, I know at the end of the day that objectively, they're not the best, but that doesn't really reduce my enjoyment of using the unit. Yeah, this unit is definitely pretty fun, and a copium unit for you back in the day if you failed to pull Duo Peony, I guess, to put on your Ether Raid's defense. But yeah, definitely a pretty nice unit to have, but not necessarily something that you really need. Because at this point we have, Duo Peony already in the game, who just has a superior Duo button. The chill skills are definitely pretty nice, but sometimes they can actually come to bite you back if, the opposing team had Sarah or like the Unity skills. Because at this point, Ether 8's defense metagame was definitely, trying to have Sarah a lot because we were about to get the 7th slot.
We're going to move on to a dancer that had a bit more impact here, though, in Harmonic Azura. Now, this is an Omni Rally, an extra movement in their dance, and then if you share a game with them, they can dance you with their harmonic skill. This is a very focused skill set.
I mean, she is really strong, but I've never really found her to be too insane because the dance trap metagame was already behind us, so thankfully that was not a factor. But she's definitely pretty nice in summoner duels, especially because of the fact that Cavaliers can run Pulse Ties. So that is something that, Dorothea, Peony, or Legendary Azura just cannot do. So you can just HP stack on her if you want to hyper optimize her. Despite her low HP, actually, I'm sure you have come across a lot of HP stacked Azuras. So she definitely has that. And the harmonic skill that can dance, after Ninja Corrin, is extremely powerful. And then she was just available in Hero Rises. So I don't think she's the most insane unit, but still pretty good. Definitely not like too unbearable or anything like that. Really solid and fun unit.
Starting to catch up just a little bit. So we've got Gen 5 at 22 and Gen 6 at 18, but we've got a unit that's just going to completely change everything in both generations. This is one of those units that was so counter meta that it felt like they became meta. But the skills, you've got guaranteed follow-up, reduces damage reduction, you've got the parasitic damage to allies, and then you've got the duo skill that basically throws your parasitic damage off onto the foe.
This unit definitely was a huge meta changer. I remember when I got him and I just put him on my Ether 8's defense, and I still use him on my Ether 8's defense, despite him, not being as insane as he was at his release. But keep in mind that this banner also released the save skills, so we have the save skills now, and we have a unit like Dual Live that can, pretty much smash most of these save units, unless you were blue, Brave Hector, and running Bonfire. Because I've actually seen my Dual Live kill some of the Brave Hectors that are just running Soul and such.
Really?
Yeah, because like Fatal Smoke is gonna deny your Soul. So Dual Live is bulky enough to live, especially on the Lost Castle map if you place your Hector in a bad way and, Dual Live ends up on a defensive tile. So yeah, this unit was a huge thing. And the fact that this unit can cut the damage reduction in half is, in my opinion, still good because he's still one of the units that can reduce the flat damage reduction that we have on Spring Maria and Asker. So that is extremely powerful even now, I think. But overall, we did say, save metagame further along with Hardy Fighter. But yeah, this unit also brought along Fatal Smoke that pretty much just killed off Brave Claude. I know it was definitely a pretty controversial opinion because people were like, okay, this is a seasonal unit, not that many people are going to be having. Turns out a lot of people have this if they cared about Ether Raids and for Ether Raids defense. So yeah, I definitely used him so much, still use him. But yeah, incredible unit that changed Ether Raids defense metagame.
Is there anything we can say about Duo Chrom that hasn't been said?
I think there's nothing. I think everyone knows how strong Duo Chrom is. I believe like there's not too many units that are must-have in this game, and I think that Duo Chrom is probably one of the rare ones that is like a must-have, especially if you care about competitive play.
He's amazing in absolutely every single mode, and influentially amazing. I mean, it is something. This is a fantastic unit. So this is, as far as Gen 6 goes, this is the identification for me of a power spike.
Yeah, this unit was extremely influential Death of Fjorm, you better run Sylvalin's Shield or run Ymir if you want to survive Duo Chrom. So yeah, Ascended Fjorm had a good run. And like this unit really influenced the Hardy Fighter metagame, I feel like, because there's not a lot of units that can survive the Deadeye and then, live to tell the tale. So this unit definitely was really influential and really was annoying and obnoxious in Arena. In my opinion, he's like the most obnoxious Arena unit to this date. And just also really incredible duo skill as well. It's useful for just providing you more firepower, so it's not something that is irrelevant and it doesn't matter. And the fact that he can charge up your special with this unit means that he's always going to be relevant for pre-charging Gale Force and Aether Raid's offense and Aether Raid's defense, and even in the casual game modes he's going to be so good. So just absolutely incredible unit. In my opinion, he's like one of the best units in the game right now.
We are starting to see things level out a bit, but we're still 4 points behind with Gen 6. But let's see what happens next. It feels weird coming from February and how big that banner was to go to these two banners in March. Let me just run through Duo Myrrh, because oftentimes we forget what she actually has. This is Slaying, 40% damage reduction, and Harmonic skill will give anyone from their game the foe can't make a follow-up attack. And then also it neutralizes their flyer effectiveness. And then there's the rating. Now you're actually higher on this unit than I was. I was ready to give this 1 star, but you still see some redemption for Myrrh. Where is this unit best used?
The reason being is that I've faced too many plus 10 Spring Myrrhs than anyone ever should. Plus 10. Like Summoner duels, this unit would not leave me alone. In Aether Raid's defense, offense, I've faced her quite a lot, and one of the things about her is that she can really function away from her team. I think that's what kind of differentiates her with a lot of the other dragon tanks that kind of need their allies to be within 2 spaces of them if they want to have any kind of enemy phase. And the fact that she has the damage reduction in her weapon can definitely, free up her slot-based skill a bit. So this unit is still pretty good, and being colorless just means that you just have better tanking potential. Obviously, there are just so many tanks now, but at the time of the release, she was still a pretty solid unit. And even now, like, she isn't really all that bad. It's just that there's just too much competition now, and there's obviously the fact that she has to run IO Shield, and do Chrom is everywhere.
It is very, very different to step over here and look at this Sonya though, which I thought was really nice how it incorporated skills from the original Sonya. I mean, everyone has seen this unit by now. This is Slaying, Quicken Pulse ×2, the Ultra Warp skill, the special cooldown count bonus to their attack that they get, and then also the Harmonic special cooldown -2 to allies from the same game. And if you're paying attention, the biggest beneficiary there is probably Lucina. The Valentine Lucina runs this absolutely amazingly, can run a miracle build right next to Sonya. We've got the return of AoE spammers right here. Have you seen this unit much other than Summoner Duels?
Yeah, I've seen her in Aether Raid's defense quite a bit, have phased her, because, she can be really strong, and the fact that she has the teleportation is really amazing for just, surprising your, enemies and just nuking them. So this unit was definitely extremely strong nuke. She was, one of the criteria of your Farsafe tier list. So yeah, she is definitely really strong, and the Harmonized skill is very good with Valentine Lucina with her Miracle build and with Brave Alm if you're running an AoE build. You can also run AoE Duo Chrom with her, so you can just have more AoE spammers with Sonya, and I think that's one of her things that can make her stand out now, because I feel like she has fallen off a bit in the metagame because of Summer Thorr and the things that she brings, because you can just run Summer Thorr, and Summer Thor's duo button is going to be universally useful to just get rid of the these kinds of raid boss teams with bonus doublers stacking up, or like, Pathfinder of Duo Dagr, and Summer Thorr pretty much can just run the AoE specials and hit just as hard and also provide more damage to your team. So Sonya's life cycle has been interesting, but at least her harmonic skill is still something that makes her unique. So still a pretty nice unit, but has fallen off a bit with Summer Thorr now that we have her, in my opinion.
Looking at the tally at this point, slowly, very slowly catching up. All right, Gen 6 is up to 26, Gen 5 is at 29. Let's get to maybe the most lackluster month. This duo Eirika. Have you faced many of these? I've got to ask.
I think I only faced one of them in Summoner Duels, and she was like plus 10. I think that's pretty much it. But like I killed her, I think, with my... I cannot remember. I think I killed her with my Summer Thorr, and it was recent actually in Summoner Duels S.
You said that so coldly, then I just killed her.
Oh god, I'm sorry, Eirika, but yeah, you gotta go with that weapon and duo skill. It's a little too late for something like this. I mean, the dodge is pretty nice to give to your allies, but like we have seen this kind of playstyle with null follow up and dodge on so many units. The fact that she can heal up is definitely pretty nice, but yeah, I think this was, even at the time of this banner, a bit too late. So she didn't really get that much of a spotlight, and the Omni tanking metagame is already, kind of in a shaky position when we have specialization of the save skills. So sadly, not that influential.
I was much lower on this unit than you were. This is Duo Ike. I know this is a fan favorite. I have caught some flack for my takes on Duo Ike. Just to briefly go over this kit. Now, this is a weird one to describe. If special triggers during attack and you're within 4 spaces of 3 allies, you get 50% cooldown reduction before attack, damage reduction based on your special cooldown, and null follow-up. Then the duo skill has guard and cooldown +2 to foes within a certain range, which is... The duo skill is very, very good. The rest of it, I kind of feel like the same things you said about Eirika apply to Ike here. Do you see a place for this unit in the meta other than in Summoner Duels?
Sadly, it's just really hard for, again, Duo Ike to stand out outside of Summoner Duels. And I think even now in Summoner Duels, I mean, it's kind of hard to say, but he's a bit harder to slot in compared to someone like Summer Thorr, for example, or, Bright Catria. But yeah, I think Duo Ike is, decent for Summoner Duels, and I kind of rated him that much because with Canto Control, that's another support that he can provide. So, you can really annoy some of the teams, especially in Summoner Duels S with this unit. But even in Summoner Duels S, I think this unit kind of falls off if you're in a trade war with your enemy and you're just trading units left and right, because Duo Ike needs that, those allies alive to get the effects out of his weapon. So if he's the one of the last units remaining, it's just that you're probably lost at that point, because he just lost the effects, and he's going to be dying now to any kind of other unit.
The thing that Ike did help is now Gen 6 is almost up with Gen 5 on the scoreboard. I don't know that that's going to last very long because I know what's coming. The Bridal Banner.
Oh god.
Wow. This is another one. Everyone has this unit. So in the kit we've got Slaying, grants orders as an area of effect, grants triangle attack, which is huge. I mean, making units brave units. Yeah, this was before every unit and their dog just got handed a brave weapon. And then the harmonic skill is Desperation. We both, no question, ranked this as a 5. The thing I want to know, I'm trying to make myself feel better. I'm just full disclosure. Did you get Bridal Catria right when she released. Did you predict that she was going to be this powerful?
I remember in my review I did say that she's definitely really strong for Ether 8's defense. I guess you could, play the clip here just for proof, but I do remember that a lot of people were really, really underrating her, and I guess that's a fun drinking game. I mean, you can go back and see. You can go back and see, if how many people rated her. But yeah, this unit just went under the radar for a lot of people until she became the meta in Ether 8's defense. And imagine putting Bridal Catria on Hero Fest and then releasing Elamine with false start. But even now, she is insanely good in summoner duels. Giving you the triangle attack is just helpful for just breaking through the merged up units and the whale units and the raid boss teams. So Catria is still really good, and I actually use her in Ether 8's offense in the Astra season. While she has not seen light of day for my Anima teams, she's still so good, so versatile. The triangle attack is just insane, and it is still extremely useful. So this unit just changed the Ether 8's defense metagame, and I think this is the unit that I would credit to a lot of people trying to run player phase strategies, because in Ether 8's defense, tanking, Bridal Catria teams at that time when she came out was a failed endeavor, because we didn't really have, Hardy Fighter and Elamine. So I think, this unit was insane, and now Gen 5 is now in the lead again.
I not only missed this, I didn't summon for this unit, and I had to listen to people for 6 months talk about how amazing their defenses were doing because of this unit. It was painful. This was clearly an answer to the saviors, though. They released the save skills, and then a couple months later, they released Catria. And I think that was the big thing, was I don't know that everyone realized how big a part of the meta saviors were going to be at that point. This unit just changed all of that.
You just see the difference between the metagame before Elamine and then after Elamine. There's PE and then there's post PE. so yeah, this just goes to show you the strength of this unit, that they had to release someone like Elamine with false start.
But we get to Roy. This unit just does nothing for me. This has a lot in it, though, this kit. We have Dragon and Beast Effectiveness, which is very nice in the meta right now. Slaying and inflicts bonuses on unit as 50% penalty on foe. And then the Harmonic skill of Treachery, which is a really weird way of saying a blade effect. So, knowing that I am just all in on hating on this unit, what was the most underwhelming part of Harmonic Roy?
Honestly, I think this is probably where we had the most amount of disagreement, because we're pretty much on the same page with most of our ratings, But I personally think that Roy is going to be aging to be a bit better as we see more dragons, and especially more beast units get their refines. We still do not have the refine of Mufasa, and yep, I just saved you the demonetization, so you're welcome. But yeah, we still haven't got the refine of Lion King, and with Asker in the game, who has the flat damage reduction, and he is insane when it comes to tanking. So the beast effectiveness, I think, is really helpful. And I think Harmonic Roy is one of those units that is going to be having the slow starts, and it's kind of hard for him. I definitely understand where you're coming from, because we just have, so many really solid Axe Cavaliers, and then we got Summer Dimitri. So,
so good.
Not too much in the favor of Roy, but still, I think he's definitely a pretty fun unit, and is going to be aging up to be better if we see a lot of Askers, especially in summoner duels. And he's mainly, I guess, at this point, some Ether 8's defense unit, because of him being able to deal with, some of the near saves. This was also right after Fallen Rhea, the dragon effectiveness, and the tempo skill is, I think, the most helpful part here, not dying to those units. But yeah, not the most insane unit, but I think I have a feeling that he might get better as we see more Beast Refines, and if the Dragon meta just, keeps on giving, and if we see more of the flat damage reduction that we have seen in Asker.
All right, so you heard it here. All of you Roy fans, don't listen to me. PM1 says this unit is going to have a rebound, so there is hope.
But just as a disclaimer, you have played Binding Blade. You know how Roy is. So, I mean, if he ends up sucking, is it really that bad? I mean, you're just getting the authentic experience. I'm just kidding.
All right, and this completely screwed over my score here. I mean, we were doing really well, and then Gen 6 falls behind again. 31 points to Gen 5's 35. But it's tough to compete with Bridal Catria. That is a unit that just changed everything. But this unit here, wow. I've got to be honest, I thought you were going to like Hilda more, just because of the World Breaker in her weapon and how that can help you out in Gale Force. But we have a whopping 1 star for this unit. Walk us through why you don't think this unit is really usable right now.
One word, healer. Sadly, I like Marianne a lot, actually, more so than Hilda, but sadly this unit, healers have not got much of specials, so it's really hard for me to, run this unit in, Gale Force or for anyone, really, and she competes with Flane, Elamine, for a staff flyer, and for that role, so it's just really hard to slot Hilda, and I think the best game mode for her right now is probably, Summoner Duels S, where at least you can use the duo skill, have that amazing isolation, which is just not usable in Aether Raid's offense against good teams. So yeah, unfortunately, not that banger of a unit. I've even killed her for even recovery to my Mercedes on my main account. So yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, healers really need some kind of specials, inheritable specials, because otherwise it's just really hard for them. There's just so much competition with the, Elamine and Flane. The expectations are just too much, for support at this point for a healer.
I'm going to move us on to Summer Edelgard. This unit, just wow. We've got slaying. We've got that spendthrift effect. We've got the 40% damage reduction. We've got the conditional brave effect. We've got the gives another action. I guess we can call that a refreshing hit. This unit is clearly 5-star. I don't think there's any debate over how good this unit is. I didn't even mention the harmonic bonus doubler, which actually can come into play and is nice. What do you think happens to nerf brave weapons? Because we've gotten so many of them, and we all know how this works.
It's gonna be something like Elamine, if your unit, if the enemy unit can double attack, they just cannot then. So, that's probably gonna be happening, but honestly, this unit is just amazing. She does everything. Alright, she can player phase, she can enemy phase, she can mix phase, she can vantage because of the brave effect, she can Gale Force, she can save tank because she's an armor. If you run Distant Storm, she's going to be surviving so much with the Hardy Fighter Aegis. She doesn't even need the special to kill most of the threats rare and the brave hit. And she can also hit and run if you run Pivot on her. Amazing in Aether Raid's Chaos. And finally, she also does your taxes. So, yeah. But yeah, this is armor unit done right, in my opinion, because she's not just for enemy phase and just for safe tanking. She can do just so much more, and that's a breath of fresh air, honestly, with the monotonous design of the armor units nowadays that we have, which is just safe tanking or bench. So yeah, this unit, I just like her design wise and also what she does. Definitely pretty amazing and really, really flexible. So yeah, a 5-star for sure. No debate over this, honestly.
I absolutely love using this unit. She is so much fun. And The other nice thing here is she actually brings Gen 5 and Gen 6 up even. So, I mean, she's doing all sorts of things for me here.
Yeah, now we move on to the tiebreaker, and you cannot have any tie breaks when you have the War Breaker, so...
Caeda is a unit that, on paper, if you would have shown me this unit, I would have said, yes, this unit is going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, she's effective against all melee damage dealers and armors. She's got fixed Canto 2 and a Harmonic Dance. Like, that's fantastic. And then we end up with a 2-star rating, which is, we were in agreement on this one. She just didn't get there. What do you think went wrong?
I think the fact that we experience young Caeda and we know that it's not that insane to have this kind of effective damage, because she doesn't really hit as hard. I mean, if you give most players Summer Dimitri and Summer Caeda, and like just from the design perspective, most people are going to be picking Atrocity Summer Dimitri over Caeda. So she just kind of lacks that burst power, and she could, really function in the Gale Force teams as well. The self dance is amazing, but she doesn't have the minus on special cooldown, unfortunately. So you gotta improvise there a bit. The self dance is definitely one of the best things about her, in my opinion, because with a lot of the Archnea and Heroes units, you can just do that. And in Mythics, we just have the Heroes units as it is. They have the monopoly. So you can just refresh your units that way, and she's still functional in the Gale Force teams and for hit and run, but this is too much competition for the Axe Cavaliers in this day and age. And what do you think?
I've experienced the exact same thing. It just doesn't hit hard enough. Damage reduction has gotten to a point where effective damage isn't what it used to be, which is insane. I mean, that's a lot of extra damage, and it's like, if they had some kind of damage reduction special that they could give her, she might see a resurgence. Might. But, I mean, you said it. Look what it takes to be a good melee cav. And I think of Summer Dimitri, who is brave with true damage and does everything but the kitchen sink. And then you've got Nana, who is... I mean, Nana's just ridiculous as well. These are the two premier melee calves right now, I think, which is weird because I would have thought at this time of year I would have still been saying Brave Eirika.
The power levels have definitely gone up to insane degrees, especially for the melee calves at this point.
But speaking of power levels getting to insane spots, we have Duo Thorr. This is just... I mean, I joke about the kitchen sink, but this truly is just everything on a unit. This is slaying, it inflicts stall, inflicts exposure, cooldown count -1 every turn. It has a spendthrift effect, world breaker, and then you have a duo skill that puts out gravity and bonus effect negation, which is huge in so many ways. The funny thing there, I will mention, and I'm sure you've seen the videos, I love the fact that the duo skill actually cancels out exposure on the enemy team.
Yeah, for sure. And despite all of these things, all of the advantages she has, you forgot. One of the worst things about this unit, though, I think a lot of people are overlooking that, and... I'm kind of disappointed you didn't, go with this. So it is her duo conversation. You cannot have that on YouTube. They didn't even upload this duo conversation to their own YouTube channel and on Twitter.
I did not know what to do with that.
Oh, God.
I saw that and was just, yeah. I was like, where's the small human? He can't be around to hear this. Oh, God, turn it off.
I mean, I usually watch the duo conversations at times on Twitter because it just appears. But, hers didn't appear and I summoned her. I logged out. I was like, okay, let's see this. And then I was like, oh, no. I don't want to ruin my YouTube, perfect green here. It's really hard to have the streak there. But yeah, that joke aside, Duo Thorr is just everything here. Amazing AoE unit, exposure is great for Vantage, for brave weapons especially, you're getting that true damage, and the stall effect just kind of kills legendary Sigurd teams in summoner duels, because I was preparing and practicing with the legendary Sigurd team, and she just came in. So I had to definitely change my playstyle in summoner duels R at that time when she came out, and that duo skill does so much because it just counters Pathfinder that you have on Duo Dagr everywhere, and Warbreaker is just the cherry on top, so she ends up performing really well in all of the game modes. But unfortunately, in Aether Raid's offense, you would think that in the light season she's going to be pretty insane with that Warbreaker, but having used her a lot, I think far saves and the fact that she doesn't have a Gale Force of her own really kind of pulls her back as an initiator. But that's really a minute thing, really. She's amazing in Chaos Season, even as an initiator. But yeah, amazing unit. She can provide the Warbreaker and the Aether Raid's defense as well. So even if you're facing guard opponents, you can just charge up your specials a bit and still just hit them really hard. The fact that she is so bulky is also really great.
The thing that I feel like she has brought back in Aether Raids is hit and run, because the power of the far save armors has made it really hard to do that strategy. And this unit gives you that extra oomph that can help you get through those party fighter units. But yeah, you're right. As an initiator, she is good. She's not amazing. The thing that this unit did for me was push Gen 6 over the top. Now, this is only by 3 points. This isn't a lot. I wanted to discuss how everything fell out. The thing that struck me the most here was definitely that power spike after Chrom. And this is very close until you divide up before Chrom and after Chrom. The units had so much more impact after that. And do you feel like there was a same power spike in Gen 5? I couldn't quite identify that, but you did talk a lot about the Linja moment that meant that we then had to have the duo's hindrance.
I personally think that, the November and December were definitely the spikes for Gen 5 because, at that time we didn't really have summoner duels, so, the duo hindrance definitely became a necessity for Aether Raid's defense, and it just kind of showed you how much big of a scam the duo's indulgence was. I'm really sorry if you spent any kind of stones on that building, but yeah, I think Gen 5 definitely saw that, and then we also got duo Peony. And that was, I think, because I have a free-to-play account, I was not really, really trying to summon these duo and harmonic units, but at that time, you need to have someone good that can, gel well with your Aether Raid's defense and at the same time enable duo's hindrance. So pretty much that, but that is still pretty significant for Aether Raid's metagame.
Looking back, and not just duos and harmonics, but with everything, what do you think was the biggest source of power creep from this past year?
Oh man, I think probably Duo Chrom. How can you beat Duo Chrom? Duo Chrom is just so versatile. And the best thing about that unit is that a lot of the good things that the unit does, it's not even from his duo skill. Duo Dagr needs, the Pathfinder. And Summer Thorr, that duo skill really carries them. But I think, Valentine Chrom is the kind of unit where even if you remove their duo skill, they are still going to be so good. What do you think about that? I'm really interested.
I've started to look at this differently, and we've talked a little bit about Summoner Duels and how it hasn't been as well received. And the thing I'm wondering is if the biggest source of power creep was actually Elamine. We're comparing two heavy sources, but in hindsight, looking at how much Elamine changed the most popular game mode in this whole thing, which is, Aether Raids, and now Chaos Season in that same mode, I am leaning towards calling her the biggest source of power creep, but man, it is tough to argue about Duo Chrom. He has just changed everything from Arena to Aether Raids to Summoner Duels.
Oh yeah, I think I'd definitely agree on that. I kind of misunderstood the question, I guess, because I was more so thinking about only harmonics and duos. But yeah, Element for sure, just destroyed Ether 8's defense anima, left it in a dumpster, incinerated it. We're still waiting for Anima Mythic to maybe change something. Just imagine if Asker was Anima Mythic.
So I've got one more question for you because I've already kept you way too long. How do you feel about this way that IS handles power creep? Because it's obvious we do need power creep. Games need to move forward. But the thing where they introduce a power spike and then introduce its counter, how do you feel about that method?
I'm not too sure if I agree with that because it just leads to a lot of players leaving the game because there's just more complex mechanics, a lot more things to counter your investments. Maybe, yeah, power creep is a necessity, but maybe they could like slow it down in a sense where not that many influential units get released one after the other. I'm not sure how many people would agree on that, but maybe slowing it down could be healthy for the game. But hey, I don't own $1 billion game, so what do I know?
I don't know. That's it's been one of the interesting things. I was hypothesizing what exactly happened and looking at that power spike. The thing that Faye has struggled with is getting new players. And I think the hope is whenever you introduce those power spikes is that when a new player comes in, they can summon a one-off like Duo Chrom and immediately compete at a high level. But man, it is a beatdown for us long-timers. It is tough.
Yeah, especially if your favorite units end up not so great. Mercedes. But yeah, it's at this point, they need to make some kind of casual game mode. I think focusing this much on competitive might be their downfall because they might be overestimating how many people play Fae for the complexity and the strategy over the favoritism, the waifus, the husbandos. So yeah, I think that's something a lot of people would agree with because like Fire Emblem has never been a competitive game or even that kind of franchise. So not too sure about focusing this much on competitive. And I think even they know it now with Summoner Duels and its low player count.
Thank you so much for coming on. I am so sorry I kept you this long, but I definitely enjoyed the conversation. One of the things I'm going to say here is, guys, definitely go and check out PM1's channel, which you already have. But in particular, I want you to look at his memberships and doing super chats. There is so much time, energy, and detail and love that he puts into his videos for the community, and it is always good for us to support our own. So by all means, please go and check out those memberships and the super chats. I promise you these videos make a whole lot less money than you think.
Yeah, we all don't have mansions like many people think. YouTube gaming is... especially Fire Emblem is like a passion project. You don't get into it for the money. If you do, probably for the it's like a wrong reason.
I think this video took me a week to put together and I will probably make about $5 off of it. So if you want to scale that. But I definitely enjoy it. I enjoy having you on. Is there any final words you have for the audience?
Oh, I would definitely say that send feedback, whatever you have. With Faye, I think that's the best thing we can do. And definitely subscribe to Joel as well. I really love your presentation, how eloquent you are. And also the fact that I'm able to, come onto your channel here for this video and we just get to geek out for, a couple of hours talking about the game that we love that brings us all together. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed a lot talking with you, and I'm really thankful for you inviting me over here, being able to collab with you as someone who also loves Faye a lot and also loves content creation a lot. It is definitely, really fun to finally do this with you. So thank you so much, Joel, and thank you everyone for having me.
It has been an absolute pleasure. I have to take a real quick moment and thank the brainstorming crew, especially John, who listens to so much of my garbage. Thank you. Also, thank you to Ilya, Deku, Mori, FJ, Riven, Moon, and Phoenix. You guys are amazing. Take care, and Summoners, schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.